So, like I said, this month you get a double dose of Mr. Smith. He's providing you with some informative creative writing tips. I hope his advice gives you the boost that you're looking for.
But today I'm here to talk to you about my author recommendations. So these are recommendations for people who are getting into writing or maybe been writing for a little while. Even there might be something special in there for those of you who are going to independently publish. My first recommendation for anybody that is writing right now, interested in getting in writing, is to start and finish something. Now, it seems like an obvious recommendation, but a lot of authors that have approached me over the years have said, hey, I started this story or I started that story, but I never really finished it. And they have accumulated a library of stories that they've never finished, but have somehow gotten launched. So my recommendation is start and finish something. Now, I think people get confused when they hear that, meaning, oh, I got to start and finish a book. Absolutely not. When I say start and finish something, it can be something very short. So use perhaps a writing prompt. So my second recommendation seems like an obvious one, but I think it's something we really need to remind ourselves of, is write to your strengths. If you are a epic dark fantasy writer, please don't let your first works try to be something that you're not familiar with at all. For me, it would be the romance genre. I don't even know how people do that. I wouldn't even try to write something that's readable to the public in that genre. So write to your strengths. If you know sci-fi, if you know fantasy, if you know detective, write stories in those genres. It'll be easier for you. The people that are going to read them are going to enjoy them more because they know that you can write well in that area. So write to your strengths. Don't try to immediately start branching out into something that you really are unfamiliar with. So number 3 is feed your creativity. So for me, I enjoy sci-fi and fantasy. So I might take some time, and I mean larger portions of time, away from that story and maybe read another sci-fi or fantasy book or watch some movies or start a new series in that genre. But it just feeds that creativity. It feeds your ideas. It gets your brain flowing in that genre again. Now, what I would caution you against is just trying to copy something that you've seen in another genre, because that's pretty transparent to your readers that you're just copying, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, or you're just copying Star Trek. However, those kinds of things can get those juices flowing, so to speak. So if you're stuck, feed your creativity and don't just take like a day or a half a day. Really take some time away, kind of replenish those batteries of ideas before you jump back into writing. Number 4 is surgically remove your ego. You need to put yourself in the mindset that any feedback you get, good, bad, indifferent, is good feedback. You might get excoriated, you might get ripped a new one for something that you've written. But take a deep breath, take a step back and say, okay, what is this person trying to say? Take the emotion out of it. Sometimes I think bad reviewers are doing that to feed their own ego as opposed to giving genuine feedback. But take a step back, say, what is this person trying to say? So finally, number 5, and this is one of the great writing debates that is out there, but my number 5 is to organize. The big writing debate that comes up when I bring up this topic of organizing your writing is, are you a plotter or are you a pantser? Meaning, do you take some time to organize your story, to plot it out ahead of time? Um, or are you a type of person that writes by the seat of your pants, that sits down and just starts writing and lets, kind of almost like a free form, letting the story guide you as the author as to where it goes next? And both of those points of view have a lot of merit. Some might think, oh, of course we're going to organize. Some of the really great authors that are out there right now still producing work are pantsers. They just kind of sit, and it's a more stream of consciousness type of writing. So what do I mean by organizing? Well, that can take a lot of different forms. Some people just have a notebook and they use kind of like the outline format that you learned in grade school and just write out their book. For me, I use a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. So in one column, I have a chapter number, and the next column, I have just a very basic summary of what happens in that chapter. But it just gives me notes so that basically before I even start writing the novel, I kind of have it a rough sketch of what it's going to look like from start to finish. So I hope those writing recommendations, those writing tips work for you. happy writing and would love to see something that people write in the future. So thank you.
A big thank you to Paul for being this month's Top 10s and Creators Corner guest host. Now, if you'd like to connect with Paul and check out his work, you can find those links to all his socials, his website, and his books down in the video description.